Hi, I'm Colin Hung for Healthcare IT Today, where we explore the latest technology trends and interesting stories in health IT. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about what happens and where we'll go once we achieve interoperability and have good data quality. Joining me today on the program is Charlie Harp, CEO of Clinical Architecture. Charlie, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Colin. I'm happy to be here.
Now, we've spoken a lot recently about data quality, which is a great topic. But I'm interested to ask you this question. What happens when we get to this promised land of good data quality and a good level of interoperability? What's next at that point?
I think what's going to happen right now, the data we're dealing with, we have quality issues, we have completeness issues, we have interoperability issues. I think when we get to the point where we have more interoperability, we've dialed up the quality of what we're transacting today, I think what we're going to realize is there's still a lack of resolution. And what I mean by that is the terminologies we use, what they can represent, the fact that we're capturing so much data as unstructured data. I think the industry has got to find a way to, one, make it so providers and the people interacting with patients can say more that's leverageable by the computer. So for example, right now, when you go to say something as a provider, if you see somebody that has Charlie Harp has a history of nosebleeds that last 2 hours, the best thing you can find in one of the terminologies might be history of bleeding. Okay. So you lose a lot of information without that resolution. And the next thing is, I think the way we capture data in the future is going to have to change. So we do less as text or as these low resolution inputs, and dial that up so that the technology of the future, analytics, artificial intelligence, can really take advantage of that and know almost as much as the provider knows about the patient.
So to me, what it sounds like is that we're doing a pretty good job capturing data, but the resolution and what we're capturing may not be high enough for what we want to use the data for down the road.
Exactly.
Is that kind of what you're saying?
So you can think of the picture of a patient we have as data today is like a very low resolution picture.
Okay.
Almost like a crayon drawing of the patient. So when we hand that off to software or AI or really anything, the best that it can do is give us answers based upon that low resolution picture.
Gotcha.
If you can dial up the resolution of that picture and provide more real data, it goes back to what I talked about in my presentation yesterday about fidelity.
Right.
If you can dial up the fidelity of what we know about the patient from a software and data perspective, then you can pretty dramatically change what software can do to assist.
I liked how you put it yesterday in your presentation, because you talked about how data really is creating a digital twin of the patient. And what I'm hearing you say now is that today, that digital twin is a crayon drawing. Yeah. And what we want is that 4K version of us in the computer so that it can be modeled properly. We can go through the algorithms, simulations, whatever new tech comes along. But if we don't do it, we're going to be trying to apply all these wonderful technologies to what essentially is a crayon drawing.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, right now, what we do in healthcare is we have all these transactions and episodes. Mm-hmm. So when you go to present something, we don't have kind of a current, what's going on with the patient right now, what's relevant with the patient right now. So we have to get better at taking all those episodes of care, all those transactions, and distilling that into a meaningful simulation of the patient that we can leverage without asking the provider to read 1,800 pages of medical history to figure out what's going on. That's the other thing that I really think we're going to do. Once we deal with the problems we have today, we're going to have what I call higher class problems to deal with in the future.
That would be a wonderful problem to have. When are we going to get there, Charlie?
It's going to take a little while, but I think we can get there. I think we can definitely get there. We're making a lot of strides right now. There's a lot of organizations that are starting to realize that the data that we have as a byproduct of care, we have to really focus on turning that into something that we can really use and not just try to use something that we created for something else. We have to purposefully create the data so we can leverage the data.
Amazing. Charlie, always wonderful to have you on the program.
Thank you, Colin.
Where can people go to find out more information about clinical architecture?
Well, you can go to our website, clinicalarchitecture.com, or you can check out the InfoMonster podcast, either way, but we'd be happy to talk to you.
Definitely got to check out the podcast. Charlie is awesome on it. He's got that amazing podcast voice. Charlie, always a pleasure.
Hey, Colin, thanks.
Hey, if you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, we'd love for you to go to www healthcareittoday.com for more great content like this. I'm Colin Hung. We'll catch you on the next one.